But instead of having your private advisor who might be a human being, it'll be more like the Amazon shopping recommendation system. So you'll log on, and it'll find out your preferences, and it will recommend you which modules, and it can team you up with similar level of people all over the world online, or you can go to your local school and maybe get live seminars and so forth. So I think the Swedish model of the knowledge schools is a completely reproducible thing. So a few years ago, I decided I would take my computer science knowledge and build an online version of kind of the knowledge school. And part one was make it super easy for any school to get online completely free. And one of the reasons I'm in the Philippines right now is there's thousands of teachers and students all over the Philippines using the site. So which is, you know, it definitely warms my heart. However, I did find there was one problem with the whole thing. So even though it's really successful and schools are getting online, I found that it's actually really hard, and for understandable reasons, for teachers to create these high-quality modules. Because most teachers are, you know, worn out at the end of the day, and it's really hard to create a high-quality, reusable module. So I realized after a few years of doing this that getting schools online was a really good thing, but creating the modules is actually going to take money. So at some point in the future, I'm sure Bill Gates or Warren Buffett will create some fantastic set of modules, and then companies like mine will host them. But I decided that going through the modular route with a high quality thing wasn't going to happen for free. But then here's the second part of the story. This is kind of the funny part for me. I started thinking more deeply again about what is actually, how can you fundamentally improve education even beyond this? Because to me this is like the state of the art of school systems in the world right now. And I kind of had this sinking feeling after having a few ideas that maybe there's an even fundamentally better way for people to learn beyond this kind of modular learning. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to finish up by telling you what I think is the real future of education. I think this is going to be pretty big over the next 5–10 years, but what I think is going to be actually even bigger is what I call adventure learning. Now I know when you see this cute picture, you think, oh, it's a video game. And the notion of a game in education is actually a bit misleading, because most games in education are more ways to practice what you learned in a traditional classroom. So they're fun things, but you don't actually learn the core concept by playing the game. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could come up with some kind of adventure that you could play on your browser or through the iPhone, and by simply playing this adventure, you could learn, let's just say, all of math, from when you're 6 years old until you're 17 years old. And one of the driving forces, there's a little quote there from Benjamin Franklin. I'm going to read it because I know it's pretty small. It says, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." And one of the truths, whether you like it or not, if you're a regular teacher, you are competing for attention with super duper 3D virtual reality gaming systems. Didn't used to be like that 20 years ago. So another belief of mine is that by presenting education through a really fun video style, kids are going to be just drawn naturally to it. So let me give you an example of what adventure learning would be like. As I say, you can actually create an adventure for all of mathematics, but I'm going to focus on just one particular scene in this adventure. So in this particular adventure, you are like a kid who's been kidnapped by pirates, and they've taken you aboard their pirate ship, and you have this really, really great adventure. It's almost like Star Wars, but in pirates. And there's one particular scene where you and your friends, you want to steal the treasure from the pirates to get off the island to go to the next part of your adventure. And you need to steal the treasure so you can buy a raft and buy food for your long journey. So the pirates say to you, "Hey boys, do you want to help us bury some treasure?" And you say, yeah, sure. And they go, well, come out with us to the islands and we'll show you how to bury the treasure. Then you can bury it for us, and then from now on you can do all the, the dirty work for us, and we'll give you a few gold pieces. So you and your friend go along, and then the pirate gets out the compass and says, "Okay, watch what I do. 20 paces north." And they count out the 20, and you learn how to do counting and math and multiplication earlier on in the game. And you see the guy draw the map, and then he turns around east, and now go 40 paces east, and he draws the little map for you, and then he digs down 2 feet and buries the treasure. And he goes, did you get that? And you and your friend go, yeah, that was pretty easy. He goes, okay, now you do it. So you go back to the beginning, and then you start counting, and you count 40 paces, and you write down 40 on the map. And the guy goes, no, your paces are half our pace, so you have to remember to divide by 2. But you learned division early on in the game, that's no problem, so you write down 20. So you basically proceed to draw out this pirate map. You have a great time doing it, and the guy goes, well done, boys, you know, here's the 10 gold pieces. And then when night falls, then you and your friends sneak out, and you pull out the map. And now this time you're doing it by starlight, but that's okay, you've got your compass. And this time, of course, you have to multiply by 2 to get the right number of paces. And you go north, and then you go east, and then you dig down, then you find the treasure. And this time, you take the whole lot. So you take all the treasure, you divide it up amongst yourselves, and then you've got to the next part of the game. Now at this point, the little parrot, who's kind of your companion, says, for an extra 20 gold pieces, do you want to know what you just learnt? And you go, yeah, okay. You just learnt Cartesian coordinate system. For another 10 gold pieces, do you want to learn a little bit about the history of this? So you go, yeah, and you get an extra 10 points, and it tells you there was this French guy called Mr. Cartesian, and he invented this map system. And you go, wow, that's pretty cool. And then he goes, for another 20 points, let me tell you something. It says, some mathematicians, instead of using north and east and digging down, they use X and Y and Z. Do you want to have a go at finding a treasure now using a map where I use X, Y, and Z instead? Because there's even more treasure there. So the kid's like, yeah, of course. So notice that the big shift here is that you're learning math without even realizing it. You're doing something that makes sense to you. You never say, like, why would I ever want to know Cartesian coordinates? Because you already found treasure, okay? You know it's really useful. And interestingly enough, you can teach virtually all of mathematics this way. You can learn probability without even knowing about it. You can learn statistics without never feeling you're learning math. You can learn trigonometry in exactly the same way. So the cool part is the technology already exists to bring this technology completely free to everyone in the world with internet access. So I'm going to finish up with a little sneak peek of what I personally hope to get involved with next year. It's like a 20-second video. You're just going to close your eyes. Well, not close your eyes. You won't see the video. Oops. And so I just want you to compare this. You know, you go into a class and you sit down and you've got your book and the teacher goes, okay, today we're going to do trigonometry. Open your book to page 13, you know. Now compare this with this kind of introduction. Sound, please. So just imagine learning mathematics through a game that starts like that. I think that would be awesome. So anyway, thank you very much for your time.